Now I am presenting in front of you standard operating procedure issued by the CBIC with regard to assessment of non-filer of returns, section 62 of the CGST. CBIC said, hey department officers, you strictly follow this protocol to assess and quantify the liability of the registered person who has not been filed the return under section 39, periodic returns, GST 3B, who has not been filed the annual return, section 44, who has not been filed the return, final return, section 45 of the CGST. For them who has not been filed the return, for them is considered, or the person who is generally filed the returns are considered, you have to follow a standard operating procedure. CBIC issued a circular to department officers, field formation authority, to the proper officer. What procedure the proper officer should follow to quantify the liability, if any, of such person who has not filed the return? In this regard, I can also say that best judgment, best assessment judgment is with the discretion of the department officer. How to follow the standard operating procedure with regard to assessment of non-filer of returns is as follows, my dear. System generated message should be sent to registered person, RP means registered person, 3 days before the due date to nudge them about the filing of the return by the due date. It is for all. Nudge, gently reminder, hey, assesses, your due date of filing the return is going to be fall on so and so date. Like that, just a reminder should be sent by department, auto-generated message with the help of system software, GST network portal, 3 days before the due date. Is clear? Inform to all the assessees, all the registered persons. After that, after the due date, a system generated mail or message, it means SMS, short messaging system, or by registered mail ID, a message should be generated to all the defaulters of the filing of returns, defaulter of filing returns, immediately after the due date, to the effect that the said registered person has not furnished his return for the said tax period is to be sent to the authorized signatory as well as to the proprietor or to the partner or partners or to the directors of a company, in case of company, in addition to authorized signatory. Hey mister, your company not filed the return. I do not know to whom you have been appointed to file the return. Who is the GST petitioner? I do not know what he is doing, not submit the return. Like that, a reminder to be sent, not filing of return, to not only authorized signatory who is responsible for the return but not filed, but also to the proprietor, to the partners or partner, or in the case of a company, to the directors. A message should be sent or by email. Is clear, my dear sir? After 5 days of due date of furnishing the return, notice under section 46 shall be issued electronically to the defaulters, requiring them, requesting them to furnish return within 15 days. Is clear, sir? See how smoothly the department is proceeding with the particular registered person to file the return. Here, after 5 days of due date of furnished return, send the notice. Under section 46, it is sufficient. Need not want to send the notice under section 73 or 74. 46 notice sufficient. After 5 days of the due date, requesting them to submit at least within 15 days from the date of the notice. Is clear as sir? Further, if the return not filed within 15 days of the said notice, the proper officer may proceed to assess the tax liability of the said defaulter under section 62, namely assessment of non-failures of return, to the best of his judgment, taking into account all the relevant material. What do you mean by relevant material? Taking into account the tax return, GST 1 return, output as liability, take into account the annual return of the previous year or the current year, or maybe any other relevant information, receipt of issuance of goods, that information or the information gathered from third party, as the case may be. Gather the information to assess the quantum of liability of such person who not filed the return, which is available or which has gathered, and would be issue assessment order. With that information, the proper officer would upload the summary of such assessment order in prescribed form. Which form? ASMT 13. We referred no? ASMT 13. Assessment of non-failures of return brothers, form GST ASM 13. That should be uploaded in the GST portal to avail the access of the registered person. So registered person can log in his GST portal with the help of his password, and he can see that issue of notices and orders. In that column, it is available. Further, then assessor came to know so much of liability demanded by the officer to pay under the best assessment, namely non-failures of return under section 62. Assessment has been qualified. Mean to say, quantify the liability and upload it in the ASM 13 in the website of GST Info portal, where the assessor can access that and notice so much of liability. In that case, he want to present his things. Sir, that much liability not there, sir. Please do not go with the best judgment assessment. Do not invoke here section 62. Please allow me to go with the normal assessment. Like that, assessee is responded to the officer. If defaulter of furnishing the returns furnishes a valid return within 30 days of the service of the assessment order under 62, the said assessment will be deemed to have been withdrawn, because you are coming out with a clear-cut information with a normal assessment. Instead of going with the what we can call best assessment, you submit the return, all the return when payment of taxes are paid, and request the officer within 30 days of issue of assessment order of ASM 13. Then in that case, officer will see that, and automatically it is auto-populating. The assessment order under section 62 will be withdrawn. Is clear as sir? Further, that means that he not want to go and communicate orally. It is submit through network portal all returns within 30 days by payment of taxes. Automatically that particular ASM 13 will be withdrawn by system itself. Further, proper officer may initiate proceedings under section 78 and recovery of 79 of the GST, CGST Act. When it comes into picture means, if the registered person not filed valid return within 30 days from the date of the issuance of the assessment order ASMT 13, in that case, proper officer may initiate proceedings under section 78. What is the 78 says? Notice assessment order issued from the date of assessment order within 3 months. Recovery takes place. Generally has to pay. Assessee has to pay. If fail to pay within 3 months or the period mentioned by officer to pay, less than 3 months also. If fail to pay, then section 79 will come into picture, namely recovery of the tax procedure I referred, no, recovery by way of by through court or by way of provisional assessment, provisional assessment of the property, or otherwise sale of immovable properties, of movable properties, or otherwise garnishing proceedings. Like that, that procedural aspects will be applied to recover from you. If the movable property is not there, immovable property also will attach to recover sale of movable properties, immovable properties, to recover their taxes and interest penalties thereon. That recovery will take place. Is clear as sir? Further, the commissioner may resort to provisional attachment of property, where the validity of provisional attachment will be maximum period of 1 year, or before issuance of assessment order under section 62, or otherwise further proper officer would initiate action under section 29 subsection 2 of the CGST for cancellation of registration in cases where the return has not been furnished for the period specified in section 29. You are aware of that. For a period consecutively not filing the return more than 6 tax periods for a normal assessee, more than 3 consecutive tax periods for a compulsory scheme assessee. In cases, what happened? It will be liable for cancellation of registration. So that procedure will be applied here. Consequences: if not filers of return, not file the return, assessment will be takes place under section 62 and recovery will takes place as per section 79. Thereafter, you are not fit for continue as a registered person, department will, commissioner will initiate to cancel your registration. And even before assessment order passing, commissioner feels so, he may escape from the payment of a tax, absconding. In such case, before passing assessment order, commissioner is empowered to impose provisional attachment of property, which is valid for a period of 1 year, as reference section 83 of the CGST. This is what, my dear sir, standard operating procedure issued by CBIC to the department officers while assessing assessment of non-filer of returns.